I've seen these Instagram reels lately. They say things like, this guy built an app. Now he's making more than 1 crore rupees every month. You can build this in 30 days, but is software really built like that? Or are we only seeing the final chapter of a story that actually took years? Today, instead of believing the hype, let's investigate the real story behind Postiz. Welcome to the Tech Breakdowns. On this channel, we don't just read headlines, we break down successful software companies, understand how they were actually built, how they make money, what architecture they use, what marketing strategy worked, and finally, what lessons every developer and founder can learn from them. No hype, just software, business, and reality. In today's video, we are going to answer a few simple questions. What exactly is Postiz? Who created it? Why did they make it open source? Why does an open source company actually earn money? Is the revenue people are talking about realistic? Did this really happening in just few weeks, or was it years of consistent work? What really, if you are solo developer, what can you learn from this journey? So this is Postage. At first glance, it looks like another social media scheduling platform. You connect your social accounts, create posts, schedule them, and recently they have gone much further by adding AI agents that can help generate, manage content automatically. Pretty impressive, right? But here is an interesting question. Social media scheduling tools have existed for nearly 2 decades. Companies like Buffer, Hootsuite, and many others were already in this market. So why did another company decide to build one more? The answer starts in GitHub, their repository. This is where things become very interesting. Right now, the project has 33,000 GitHub stars, thousands of forks, hundreds of releases, and thousands of commits. Those numbers immediately tell us something. This wasn't build or weekend. It wasn't 30-day success story. You are looking at years of continuous development, improvements, bug fixes, feature releases, and community contributions. And that's exactly why I wanted this video, because social media usually shows us the destination. It rarely shows us the journey. So in this next section, let's go back to the beginning. Who really created Postiz? when did when did the project starts, and why would someone choose to make almost everything open source instead of keeping it private? So let's go back where the story really begins. With research Postage, I found something much more interesting than revenue screenshots. I found a Reddit post written by the founder himself. Instead of saying I become rich overnight, he explains exactly how he built this company. The first thing that caught my attention was in September 2024, I started Postiz. And later in the same post, he mentions that the company is making around $14,200 per month as a single developer. Now, whether that number has grown since then is a different discussion. But what interests me isn't only the revenue, it's how he got there. His philosophy. He writes something that I think many developers should read. His goal wasn't simply to maximize revenue. He wanted almost everything to remain open source, and he wanted developers to be able to use the product without being forced to pay immediately. That completely changes how you think about software. Instead of locking everything behind a paywall, he focused on building trust first. Think about that for a second. Today, almost every SaaS product wants your credit card before you have even tried the software. Here, the philosophy is almost opposite. Give value first, build community, then monetize the cloud service and convince later. And once you understand that philosophy, his GitHub page suddenly makes much more sense. Just look at this repository. More than 33,000 stars, 6,000 forks, nearly 200 releases, over 2,700 commits, around 80 contributors. Those numbers don't happen because someone upload a project one weekend. Every commit here represents a small improvement, bug fix, feature, a design change, a performance improvement, thousands of small decisions slowly becoming one successful product. This is exactly why I wanted to make this video. Social media often compresses years into 30 seconds. We see headlines saying one developer makes over 1 crore rupees every month, but we rarely see thousands of commits. In the filed versions, the constant improvements, and the years of consistency behind that headline. That's the real story. Now let's look at the actual product. At first glance, it looks like clean social media scheduling platform. But if we look carefully, it much more than that. Today, they are talking about AI agents, automatic content generations, multi-platform publishing, analytics, collaborations, and dozens of support social media platform. This didn't appear on day one. It evolved over time. So now we know something important. The success of Postage wasn't magic. It wasn't a lucky weekend project. It was a series of small improvements repeated over and over again. But here's the next question. If the entire code is available publicly on GitHub like this, how does this company actually make money? Because that's where the business model become really interesting. So now we understand the journey, we understand the philosophy, we understand the years of work, but there is one question every developer has. If almost everything is open source, where does the money actually come from? Because this is where many people get confused. Explain explaining this, when people hear the words open source, they immediately think, if the code is free, why would anyone pay? That's actually the wrong question. The better question is, what problem are customer paying someone else to solve? Let's look at the pricing page. They aren't selling code. The code is already available. What they are selling is convenience. They are selling hosting, updates, maintenance, reliability, AI features, team collaboration, support. In other words, they are selling time. Simple example. Imagine I give you the complete source code for a house, every blueprint, every measurement, every instruction. Does that mean everyone can build a house? Of course not. Most people don't want the blueprint, they want finished house. Software works exactly the same way. Business often pay for convenience, not because they can't access the code, but because they don't want to they don't want the responsibility of maintaining it. I think this is one of the biggest lessons from Postage. Many developers believe, if I open source my project, nobody will ever pay. But companies like this prove something different. Sometimes giving away the software actually increases trust, and trust begins users. Some of those users eventually become paying customers. And once your community starts growing, something amazing happens. You are no longer building the product alone. People report bugs, developers submit pull requests, Designers suggest improvements. Documentation gets better. New integrations appear. Your users slowly become contributors. Does that mean every open source project becomes a successful? Definitely not. There are thousands of amazing GitHub repositories with almost no users. Open source alone is not enough. You still need useful product. You still need consistent updates. You still need marketing. You still need people to trust you. In my opinion, open source simply remove one barrier. It doesn't remove the hard work. If I had summarized this entire story into one sentence, it would be this. People don't suddenly discover Postiz. Postiz spent years becoming discoverable. That's a completely different mindset. Success is not usually one viral moment, it's hundreds of small improvements that eventually become impossible to ignore. So, we have looked at the founder, we have looked at the product, we have looked at GitHub, we have looked at business model. The final question is, what can we as developers actually learn from this? And more importantly, if Postage inspires you, what other software business could you build using the same thinking? So, after spending the last few hours research Postage, I think the biggest lesson isn't actually about social media scheduling. It's about building software. Today, many of us open Instagram and we immediately see headlines saying this startup makes millions. This solo founder reached $10,000 a month. This app exploding overnight. But after looking through the GitHub repository, reading the founder's own words, and understanding the product, the reality looks very different. Great software usually grows through consistency, not shortcuts. So, here is the lessons. So, lesson number one is building in public. Every commit, every release, every commitment becomes visible. People trust builders who consistently ship. Trust is one of the hardest thing to buy, but one of the easiest thing to earn through consistency. Lesson number two is don't be afraid of competition. When Posti started, social media scheduling was a new idea. Companies had already existed for years. But instead of asking, is this market already crowded? They asked, can we build a better experience? That's completely different mindset. Lesson number three is revenue is usually a result, not the starting point. If your only goal is making money, users can often feel that. But if your goal is solving a real problem and you keep improving, revenue often follows. Now, before we end this video, I want to do something a little different. Instead of only talking about Postage, let's use this idea as inspiration. If you are a solo developer, here are 5 software ideas inspired by the same thinking. Idea number 1, a Google review manager. If customers leave 4 or 5 stars, send them directly to Google reviews. If they leave 1, 2 or 3 stars, collect the feedback privately first, giving business a chance to improve before losing public reputation. So idea number 2 is a quotation platform for painters, plumbers, electricians, interior designers, or any local service businesses. Instead of sending quotation through WhatsApp, they could send a professional link, track approvals, collect advance payments, and manage products in one place. Idea number 3, a lightweight social media scheduler built specifically for local business, restaurants, gyms, salons, or small shops that don't need enterprise software. Idea 4, an AI content planner where business owner simply describes their business and receive 30 days of social media ideas automatically. Idea number 5 is a customer follows a platform after completing service, automatically ask for feedback, collect testimonials, remind customers after 6 months, and build long-term relationships. That's why I enjoy researching companies like this. It's not because I want to copy them, it's because every successful product teaches us a different way of thinking. And if one open source project can inspire 5 complete new ideas, imagine that we can build by studying hundreds of them. If you enjoy this breakdown, subscribe to Tech Break- Breakdowns. Every week we will investigate real software companies, understand how they were actually built, separate hype from reality, and most importantly, leave every video with practical ideas that you can use in your own projects. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next breakdown.